Starting.
What
Okay.
daf?
You lady.
Yes, we are doing Daf Chof Ches, Amud Aleph 28, and it's continuing off yesterday's question. The Gemara started a big sugya called Ovid Inish Dina Lenafshe or not. Ovid Inish Dina Lenafshe means a person could take the law into his own hands, basically, and he doesn't have to go to Beis Din and fight. So the Gemara really said that Bimkoim Pseido, then everyone agrees that Avadin is dealing nafshe. Bimkoim Pseido means that if he waits around until he goes to Bezdin, so even if he comes to Bezdin and Bezdin will say, okay, so he has to pay, but he's already going to lose. For instance, the Gemara gave the example, or it came into the Gemara an example that there's a certain Bor Mayim or a certain reservoir that they're supposed to be splitting the water, and one guy's taking much more water than he should be taking. So over there, if he's going to go to Beis Din and say, "Hey, he's taking too much water," by the time you get there, there's no water left, and then he says, "Oh, he was wrong." He said, "Well, you won't have any. Your field won't grow any crops, and he loses a lot more than just the price of the water." So that's called, well, so that's called a lot of that's called Ikab Seder, and then everyone would agree that he could take the law into his own hands, and over the Nidin Nashe to stop the guy from taking it out.
Right?
That's if there's a pseudo. If there's a pseudo, then everyone agrees that Avadin is Dina al Nafshe. That was not a machlokas, and that was actually the case yesterday. And he took out his panda, his shovel, and hit him because he was taking too much water. And if I'm going to wait till I go around to Bez, then I'm going to lose out. So that was one thing. Now the Gemara out of machlokas, Rav Nachman and Rav Yehuda, what's going to be a case of lekab pseudo? Be'etzim, he could go to Bezdin and fight it out in Bezdin, and he'll win and get the money. And he's not going to lose anything from waiting to Bezdin. It's just a tircha, waiting around till he goes to Bezdin and then going through the whole process. Does he have a right to do to Avad Inish Dinal Nafshe to do this just in order to save himself from the tircha of going out to Bezdin?
We'll find out.
So it's a machlokas of Yehuda and Rav Nachman.
Well, I'm half right.
Yeah, right. So it's a machlokas of Yehuda and Rav Nachman that the Yehuda said lo yovedin ish dina nafshe. I actually think the halacha is that ovedin ish dina nafshe. I think
That he can't.
if he because he doesn't have to go to the tircha through the whole.
Isn't that a zilzal to the basic? That's why I said what I said. In other words, that's making light of the process.
Even after the Beis Din himself recognizes that it's a whole process to go through court cases and the lawyer. It's true that afterwards I'll give him back the money, but like most people don't go into these things because it's just because you don't have the cost.
When the guy's losing money, so then he's got to sign it.
Eventually he'll get the money back.
But so the Beis Din is going to hold me back. What are you talking about? This is the only option for you to find out anything about anything in Yiddishkeit in halacha.
So he knows the halacha. It's not the question that we're not sure whether he's chayiv or not, but it's just that going through the whole process is a pain in the neck. I don't know. I had an example one time. It's not only a business in a store. The cash register. They scan the items, so you always have. By mistake it scans double. It scans twice, right? And that's why you always have to check the receipts. But nothing. Check the receipt and showing it was double. But you pay with a credit card, you have to wait for the manager, he's going to be here Monday, come back Monday morning, 9 o'clock, and then the guy didn't come. It's like a huge thing. So I don't know, could you just go into the store? I'll take another one. It was a bottle of wine. I'll take another bottle of wine and farting. So I don't know. So I think the halacha would be that you're allowed to. It's just it's not good to go into the store and take over a bottle of wine like we saw yesterday.
I quote you
Huh? Shaloi. Right. You can't tell him. The Gemara says that you shouldn't do it, that you should walk into someone's chutzner and try to sneak out your stuff because shaloi yira alav kaganim. Yeah, start stopping as a shopper. So you should go in and say, I'm taking my other bottle. And that, the karon, you should be, according to the halacha, you should be allowed to do that. So that's what the Gemara was talking about. And again, going to Beis Din, it's not a question of it's for sure that that he gets either the schod or to get it.
And it's not like
a question.
It's not a halachic,
right. It's not a davar. What's it called? Totally b'shikol adas or something like that.
Okay.
and maybe he still has to go to Bezdin because you can't just do it by yourself. You have to go through the process. So that's Machlokas Rav Yehuda, Rav Nachman, and the Gemara brings eight proofs. Rav Yehuda, Ha'amora, right? And the Gemara brings eight proofs, and four or five of the proofs was done yesterday. The first four proofs was that Avadin is Din Nafshe, and the Gemara is Matcha, and now the Gemara starts with Rayas that low Avadin is Din Nafshe. How do we get into this whole balagan? Like Echze Kashur Eleinu? Because one of the eight Rayas is from our Mishnah. The Raya just before, over here is a little bit on top. It spoke about our Mishnah. Here we go.
Yes, I can see. Yeah, I think we finished on Shabbos Tashma.
Right, this Tashma was the last one that was done, which is Hamaniach as a Kad B'Shus Harabim. If someone puts his Kad B'Shus Harabim and someone else comes and he falls on it and breaks the Kad, so it says that it's Potter. But the Gemara wanted to be Medaik that only if he fell on it, but if he would find someone else's Kad in the Rishus Harabim and then just goes and breaks it, so then he's Chayev, and that would be that Lo Yaved in Ishdin al Nafshay. And the Gemara was Matcha that maybe over there he could really break it. If okay. So that was why I'm just saying that the reason why I came into this whole Sugya came into us is because one of the eight rayas is from our Mishnah, and now we're continuing raya number 6. Okay. So it says in the pasuk v'katzoiso eskapo, which the Gemara darshans that it means mamon. It's talking about two people are fighting, and one of the two parties fighting, his wife wants to save her husband, so she goes, and the way the Chazal understand it is that it's busha, that she's mevayish. She grabs one of the people who's fighting. In other words, her husband's Ruvain, and he's fighting with Shimon, and she goes and she's mevayish Shimon, and that way she saves her husband Ruvain. So the Gemara says the halacha is that this woman is chayiv because she just went and was mavaya Shimon to save her husband. Obviously, it wasn't a sakana. It wasn't. That's how all these Chazal understand it. So v'katzoisa eskapa, which literally means you chop off her hands. But the Gemara says that doesn't really mean chop off her hands. It means that she pays money. She has to pay bilshas. Okay. Where's the pasuk? Should be over here on the side. I'm sorry.
Is it Kafchet Hamad Aleph?
Chavches Amar Aleph towards the middle. How do you find the pasuk here?
That's
sounds so
it's an old question. You have to wrote the Kodesh.
Here we go. The Katzos is covered, but it's the pasuk is in Devarim. I could open it somehow or other. That was it.
Always on the side of Rashi.
Here we go. I'm sorry.
The person is always on the side with Rashi. Same side of the daf.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Kafhe.
Sorry.
Ki inatzu anashim yachdav. Two people are fighting. I should share it. Ish v'achiv v'korva ish es ha'echad lahatzil.
Now, although it stays there, the English haters.
כי ינצאו אנשים יחדיו איש ואחיו, וקרבה איש האחד להציל את אישה, as a ishala, her husband, miyan makeu, from the one which is fighting with him, v'shalcha yada, and she sends her hand, v'achzika b'mvushav, which means it's Eva, and v'katzoisa eskapa, loisa choisei necha. And the Gemara says that she was made the busha for the other person in order to save her husband. So v'katzoisa eskapa literally would mean to chop off her hands, and the Gemara says that it means to pay money. I'll call upon him. There's a chiyuv. So what's the Gemara's kasha going to be?
Why did the Torah use
That
such an extreme language if it's only for money? I mean,
so some explain that the Torah is trying to bring out that be karon the din should be a katzosa eskapa. Yeah, you shouldn't just think that you pay $100. It's really chamor. Yes, it must be remka.
pretty much.
Fine. Now the Gemara's kasha is why should she have to pay? Lav. It says by you lo or lav. Say lav. Sheyechola la'atzil al yedei.
Derech acheret.
Sorry, my love. Sorry, I skipped it. Okay, because this is Kappa. My love, isn't it talking about Mishe'ena yochola la'atil al yedei davar acher? She can't save her husband any other way, so she had to do this.
Right. That's
So
what I asked you,
this is a raya that
Huh?
lo yaver inish deal nafshe. Because if over inish deal nafshe, so she should be allowed to go look at Chila and do it. Because over inish deal nafshe, and now she points out that this is a kash on everyone. Because over here it's ikab pseudo. Over here, we said that when it's Ikub Seder, when she's you ain't gonna lose something for going to Bezin. She says, okay, don't hit 1 minute till I go to Bezin and get to stop you. So everyone agrees he's gonna get beaten up. So over here it's Ikub Seder, and everyone should agree over here that Ovidin is deal nafshe. Right, and then she should be potter. So why is it over here that it says that she's chayiv to pay money? So this is a kasha on Rav Nachman and Rav Yehuda would say Ovidin is deal nafshe, at least for sure in this case. The Gemara says, like, this case is Taka only talking. That she could have saved it with a different way, like we had on top with the two oxes. You didn't have to push him down. You could have just slept out your husband and saved him some other way. And that's why if she went and she was Mavayish, the fighter, the other guy, she's Kaya. What?
Did you use mace?
Okay, that maybe it's a different, yeah, or different. You could have another way to, I don't know, pull her husband away. Yeah, but anyhow, she could have saved her husband some other way without being Mevayish this Make, this bad guy, but she could have done it without doing it, and that's why she has to pay. But if she would not be able to save her husband any other way, so then taka ptura, she's taka potur. Ihochi added Tony Seifa over there. The Brisa continues and it says that there's one case which you potter on boishes. That it says v'sholcha yoda, only the woman who's mevaya, she has to pay. Prat l'shliach bezdin. If the shliach bezdin goes and is trying to get the guy to come to bezdin, or he's trying to enforce the din of bezdin.
While they're fighting?
No, while they're fighting in a different case. This is like this Gemara takes this as not necessarily this case, but as a thing of boshes, someone embarrassing someone else. So prat l'shliach bezdin, the shliach bezdin is mevayish someone, so then he doesn't have to pay boshes. So if we're looking for a case where you do not have to pay boshes, why do you have to go to some kind of other case of shliach bezdin? You could talk a very similar case, still with the two people fighting, and the wife coming and trying to save her husband, and just say it in a way that there was no other choice for her to do, and that's why Avadin is dealing nafshe, and that's a case that she's potter. How come to look for a case that she's potter, we have to go all the way to shliach bezdin? Liflog velisni b'didei. Let's split basically, or differentiate velisni and say the brayse b'didah with the same case with this woman, and we'll say as follows. That she has to pay money only that she could have saved him some other way. If she couldn't have saved the husband any other way, so then she's taka ptura because of it in his deal. That's what we said. So the Gemara is asking if that's true. So why doesn't the Brisa just say a much simpler case? That this is the case. You're looking of a case when she's potter. I'll tell you when she's potter. If she couldn't have saved him some other way, we don't have to go finding some external case of a shliach bezdin.
Okay.
And the Gemara says a little kvetch, but okay, dochak hachenami kama. That's really what we mean to say. That she has to pay. She could have saved her husband some other way. If she can't save her husband any other way, then Nasa Yoda, her hand becomes like the hand of Kishliach Bezin, Uptura, and she's Potter. So the Gemara just has is saying that this is Taka talking only in the case that she could have saved some other way. That's why she has to pay. And
additional,
in fact, she's like Shliach Bezin.
It's a different situation. Here, Beis Din is an appointee from the Beis Din to do a job, usually on another man. And there's nothing about Bush, nothing about grabbing the guys,
right?
Whatever it is, it's a whole different picture.
But over here, since she has no right to do it, so since she has a right to do it, meaning she would go to Bezdin and get the Shliach Bezdin to come and stop him, right? She would have went to the shliach bezin, fast get to shliach bezin to embarrass him to stop. But she can't because
Yeah.
Avadin is din al nafshe, so she doesn't have to go all the way to bezin. So she's the
Well,
shliach.
there's a danger.
So she's the bezin.
Yeah.
That's basically what we're saying. When it's Avadin is din al nafshe, what we're really saying is the person himself becomes the bezin. So that's what he's saying, that her hand becomes like the shliach bezdin. Now I understand that a little more. In the beginning I started saying it's a big docha because I was like, what do you mean nasik shliach bezdin? Nah, it's just another case of potter. But now as I'm saying it, I'm thinking that maybe that's what it means. When Ovid is dealing nafshe, so he himself becomes the shliach bezdin. So that was raya number 6. Yeah.
Because she got the job done.
She got it better than the Toshima. 7th raya. This is again the same shaila of Avadin Din Nafshay, and this is talking a case of a Mitzvah Shachzik by Rabbim. Someone has a field, and there's a shortcut going through his rishos. Now, this shortcut that the people are using to go through his rishos is an old thing. I don't know exactly how this came into being, but this is already established that this shortcut belongs to the people. It could be that originally when he bought the field, it was already belonged to the people. So this shortcut already belongs to the people. Now he says, I don't want them going straight through my field. I'm going to take this one away. And I'll give them a shortcut a little bit on the side that they shouldn't be going straight in the middle of my property. Hare, shahoisa derech harabim, oiveres b'toich sadeh. There was not even a shortcut. The mama sounds like there was a road that passed by his field. Well, basically, he had two others on the two sides of the road. And he doesn't want the people to go over there right in the middle of him. So he wants to block that off and make them a detour, Natala. He takes that road. And he gives them a different way on the side of his property. So that's the case. The halach is, says the Brisa, Masha Nosan Nosan. He gave them on the side that belongs to them. Vishaloi lo yagiyoi. That means the middle, what he's trying to take away from them, he doesn't get. So basically, he loses double. He also loses the middle, and what he gave on the side, he gives. Now, the Gemara has over here a little bit of an interesting havamina, and the Gemara understands that be'emes, he's right, that he gave them on the side, that now is their new dera. And this one in the middle, the ikaron, he should be able to stop them. But the reason why we say shaloi lo yagiyah is because what's he going to do? Every guy, he's going to stop bringing the people to Beis Din. So shaloi lo yagiyah is not really like a sack, it's more of sort of like a right that he's not going to get it or an outcome practice. That's what's going to end up happening. That he's not going to end up getting his thing back. So the Gemara says, what's his problem? Because the Gemara understands why can't he get his own property back? Because he's going to stand over there, on the main route and take each car and stop each car. He's going to go crazy and take each guy to Bezdin. But if you say that a person could do it without taking everyone to Bezdin, so he could stop Route 1, he's going to sort of pachim. Link it, amris, ovid that he doesn't have to come onto Bezdin. He could do it by himself. So link it, pasra, some kind of rod or stick, Velasif, and let him sit himself onto the main road. So you understood that Be'etzem, what he gave on the side, is really now theirs, and he could take it away. He doesn't have to let them go straight in the middle. The whole problem was that he can't schlep everyone to Bezdin. So if Ovid Inish Din al Nafshe, he doesn't have to schlep them to Bezdin. He's going to sit himself with a stick on the road, and that's how he's going to stop them. So this is again a raya that loy Ovid Inish Din al Nafshe. What, you have him sitting over there hitting the people?
A baseball bat.
A baseball bat. That's So
was a baseball bat.
I think Rashi says that it's a broad.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so Lincoln Pazav so the Gemara understands this to be a raya that loy Ovid Inish Din al Nafshe. Because if yes Ovid Inish Din al Nafshe, so he could just take care of it himself. And if it says Shaloy lo Yagiyoi, that's a raya that he can't take care of it himself. And now the Gemara is going to say, no, we had a mistake. We thought that really what he did was Kedin. What he gave on the side is the new road, and over here they should stop. It's just a shaila if he has cost to stop them or not. But that's not true. Really, what he gave on the side is not Kedin. He can't take away the main road, but maybe he's going to give them some kind of detour. And because of that, Chacham said that he can't take away, he can't take back the main road. So it's not just because he doesn't have koyach to go to Bezdin to fight, which that he would be able to take care because Avadin is dealing nafshay, but rather be'emes it's not given over. Amr Avzvin Mishmedi Rav over there, it's not zero shemiyitel and derech hakalosoin. Maybe he's going to give them a roundabout way, a curvy way. And that's why he can't take away the main road. Not only because he doesn't have koyach to fight with them, but there's a zero that he might give them a turny road. Rav Mesharshi Omar, a little bit different, that this is taka talking in that case. Benosen derech hakalosoin, that he gave them a roundabout road. And Rav Ashi says a little bit similar. He says, Kol minatzad derech akaloson. Every time you give on the side, it's akaloson because it depends to who. For some people, it's close. Rav Ashi Amar here. Kol minatzad derech akaloson. Kroivel is there, but rechoikel is there. So maybe he be'emes doesn't have a right to give them from the side, and they have a thing. They have the right to continue in the main road, and it's not just a question of whether he could schlep them to Bezdin or he could fight himself. He doesn't have a right to take it away from the rabbi. Why? Which one is this? Oh, so this is a problem in the Girsa. So he says over here, the Girsa should be amai mashenosan nosan. What is the thesis? Much better Girsa. Mashenosan nosan amai. So you told me that he can't he can't take away the rabbim's main derech. All right. So then what he gave on the side was a mistake. He wants to take that back. In other words, you told me that you can't have people taking away the main road and making them do detours because it might be a derech hakaloson. Okay. So the detour road that he gave, that he shouldn't, of course, give up. You can't give up both. Amai, it should be amai mashenosan nosan. What does it say? Yeah. Why did they get that? Lema, let him say, just even smaller.
He doesn't get it.
Lema, shkulo did fine, so take yours, but how did he give me back my way? Sorry? Yeah.
Masha Nasan means he can't take it back.
Right. Mashanosan, what he gave is given. In other words, he can't just take it back. What? So this is what it says that Mishum Rav Yehuda. You know why he can't take back the new road? Because Rav Yehuda said halacha
Because people started using
that
it.
people already started using it. Meitzar shechziku by Rab. Dom Rav Yehuda. Meitzar shechziku by Rabim also the kalkaloi. And Meitzar is a shortcut. What's the lashon Meitzar? Actually means like a N. I don't know. It seems to say like some kind of shortcut that the rabbim started using. Asur the calculator, you can't ruin it. Which is interesting because we know how this happened, right? The people started making this shortcut because I let them do it. Right. And I let them by mistake. But once they already started, I can't take it back. It's a chiddush to me, but that's a Yehuda. And that's why Mashanos and Nosan. So the MS, the main road is what stays to the rabbin. And the new road they take because he let them use it, and I was made to shech ziku by Ram. That I don't understand so much, but that's what it says. Sorry. Now goes raya number 8. Tashema. Balabayas sheiniach pe'al mitzad echad. Who knows when you have a field, so you leave some for the aniyim on the side, and he left pe'al on one side, on the south, on the right side of the field. Ubo aniyim, the aniyim came, and they started taking from the other side. V'notlu mitzad acher. So the MS, if he would have woken up right away and told them not to take from the tzad acher, he for sure would be able to, because they have no right just to come into his field and take. But this guy decided, let them take that other payer from the other side. I'll take the first payer that I gave. I'll take away. So it says zeva ze payer. But he let them take what payer, and the first one also says payer. So the Gemara again understands that what's the problem? Of course, it can't be that that's the halacha. Of course, the original payer belongs to him. He let them take this new payer, so now he takes back his old payer. They can't
He's
win
only here
both.
for one.
Right. So the Gemara understands that what's the problem? He would be able to take a Tarani, but he has no koyach to start fighting with each guy in court. But link it, Pazer, again the baseball bat. Let him take his baseball bat, and let him sit and stop them from taking the old payer. So Rava, that's the kasha. So you would see from here again that not of it. lo yovedin ishdin al nafshe. Gemara says no, but MS he could stop them from taking the old payah. What it means over here to say that the old one has a halacha of payah is only for one certain din. The halacha is that usually if someone has a field, so you have to give trumas, maestros, and other things. But if someone gets something min a hefker, if someone zocha, it's not a field, he just takes it min a hefker. So once it's hefker, it becomes potter from maestros. So here, this first payah, he originally was mafkirt. He let it to become payah. Then the aniyim went and they took from a different part of the field. So now he's going to go back and get that first part, right? So we're saying that that first part that he takes back is he doesn't have to give ma'asos on that. It's still considered payah. It doesn't become retroactively not payah now mechuyev and ma'aser, but it's considered that he's being zocha min hefker and he could take it, but he's still part of it for ma'aser. Right? We thought it's a chumrah that he doesn't own it at all. It ends up being that it's a kula, correct? Amarava ma'aser was a payah the poiter min ma'aser that the first one is poiter min ma'aser kedetanya. Hamafkir as karma, someone who's mafkir as karma, and then he wakes up in the morning, and he himself collects the kerem, he's boiter the kerem. So chayav bepered, bo'ilah is beshikcha bepeya. But upatum in a meiser, if he already believed that he was zechet min hefker, and he's potter from giving meiser, so too the first payer that he left is potter min a meiser. So the meiser we ended up going 8 rayas. 4 was a raya that Avadinish didn't have shade. The second 4 was a raya that Loy Avadinish didn't have shade. And we were matcha everything. And the halacha stays, I think, that Avadinish didn't have shade. So for sure, we can say that it's Avadinish didn't have shade. But even in a case where it's not say that, it's only a matter of schlepping down to the Bezdin, it's still Avadinish didn't have shade. Right, but it has to be that it's a schlep to go to the Bezdin. If not, so then why do it himself? And then there's always the issue, like what Avram said, the Bible says that don't make sure that you shouldn't be caught as a ganav. So you have to be shvar shinov. Go in and tell him I'm doing dino lenafshe. Okay, so that was the first Mishnah. Oh, excellent. Our second Mishnah is also Hilchas Bor. It ends up being very complicated. The Gemara, but the Mishnah itself, I think, will be simple. Let's see the Mishnah. Someone was walking, and he had his kad, his barrel of water, water or something in the Rishus Harabim, and it broke. And then after him comes someone else. He didn't clean it up, right? Someone else comes behind him and slips in the water. Or the pieces of the shards that are there, and he gets hurt by that. Chayav. The guy who walked and didn't clean it up, he's chayav. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, bimiskavein chayav. If it's intentional, then he's chayav. Ve'enim miskavein potter. How would you understand? What does miskavein mean?
If you had the chance to pick it up, if you had the time even.
And I'm just he broke the cut on purpose.
Okay, so both of these are going to be in the Gemara. I think, I don't know, when I would read the Mishnah, but miskavein, I would think means that he broke it on purpose.
Oh, this is not, is it okay? Tonight is a night where you're not supposed to learn, not supposed to open a sefer. Does everybody know that, is that a halacha or a minhag or?
It's not nitto.
Huh?
It means
That's
nitto.
tomorrow night, no?
It's the 24th of the night of the 25th.
That's tomorrow.
Hasidim have a thing that they don't
tomorrow.
learn. Tomorrow?
Because tomorrow night's
It's not tonight.
No, it's tonight.
Right, tonight. Tomorrow's Christmas. Right, tonight.
Why are you being difficult, Moshe?
Yeah, no, you have to give me it's tonight. Okay.
Right, so what is it?
So
I'm just saying in general. I mean, I don't know what I don't know where I fit.
You sound like Friday. I'm sure for you, you could open up. I'm Friday. I give you the head. It's okay.
they say that it started because it used to be that it was dangerous, for Jews to be out at night. And so they used to cancel all the night shiurim. And also women didn't go to the mikveh nittel night because they didn't want people to be out in the streets. It was dangerous. And from that also came a thing that they started saying that this kochos atuma, and we don't want it because they would just say, don't go to the shir because it's dangerous. It's always going to be the people who will go. So they had other reasons also that they said, and that's how it started. Today they are still making Hasidic communities that they won't learn the first half of the night.
Even in Eretz Israel.
I think even in Eretz Yisrael till 12 o'clock. I think till because half mass. That's when they would come out
until midnight.
till midnight tonight.
Like whenever, like from whatever, 5 p.m. till.
From whenever it's night, yeah.
It's not a whole.
From
That's
when
not
the
a halal.
pogroms would start.
From when the pogroms would start. From when the pogroms would start. They just didn't want people to be out in the streets. That it's not like a halacha. It's like a choven. It's
If you just call me on.
When you get up at 12 o'clock, you can take a cut size.
no, this is
Why did I come into super abuse?
What's your name, Brian? Okay.
yeah.
So it says if he, who said
Oh,
the Mishnah?
So yeah, Miskaven.
Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said.
What's that like on the video? That's it's okay.
Was that yeah? Yehuda says Miskaven Chayiv, and I think the simple reading of the Mishnah, like we wouldn't get so bent out of shape. No, just say that the Tanna Kamma says that even if it just broke, you didn't clean it up, so he's Chayiv. And Yehuda says no, if it broke by illness, so he should have cleaned it up maybe, but it's not considered, that you made the bar. Whereas if he broke it, b'miskavin, then it's considered that he made the bar, then he's chayav. But in miskavin potter, that would be a very simple reading in the Mishnah, and it could be that that will also stay in one sheet of the Gemara. I got a little bit mixed up, but we'll get to that. Bez Hashem, maybe tomorrow. Fine. But the first case was the first Tana, in other words. Again, he was walking in the Rishus Harabim, and it broke, and someone else comes and slips in the water or got hurt with the shards, so he's chayav. Why? Either because he should have made sure it doesn't break. When you walk with a cat, you got to make sure that it shouldn't break.
He made a bore.
Maybe what?
He made a bore.
Yeah, he made a l'chayra, right? That's what you would say. What other chiyuvim could there be besides a bor? Some We'll see. Someone want to say maybe it's Mamoine Amazik, like he still owns the shards and he has that. That maybe would also be a bor. Maybe not. It might be differences. So that's the Tanakh. Nishbar Kadi B'Shusayam Huchukech B'Mam Shalok B'Chars is Chayev. And Yehuda says Miskavin Chayev ain't Miskavin Potter. There is going to be a sheet in the Gemara, like what you said, that if he's planning on coming to clean it up, he's not.
No, if he owns it, then maybe it's swirls.
I don't think it's Shoros, because that would be Kocho maybe. They talk about Memono Amazik, that
My shore.
your shore is in the Rishus Rabbim, and someone fell on your shore. So I would think that's also bor. But the Gemara is going to talk that might be more chamor than bor. Like there's certain things that bor are potter. It's going to be potter for kalim, potter for certain things, and maybe this will be worse because it belongs to him. A bor is hefker. It's just that you made
Yeah.
over here, maybe it's going to be even worse. So again, Nishbar Kadi B'Shus Haram Uchal Mam Shalok B'Chars is chayev. Now, we're going to start a Gemara now, Machlokes Rav and Shmuel. I think what we could do is first is this say to be magdim that there's a Machlokes Rav and Shmuel and Daf Nun Gimel about bor. It talks about bor. Shmuel's, let's say someone makes a bor and someone falls into the bor and he bangs himself right on the bottom of the bor. So the person who made the bor is chayev. That's what we would say, right? Rav says, no, listen. The karka that was on the bottom of the bor, this person didn't make it. It was there from, I don't know, Sheshis maybe Rashis. I just made it. Now I was the shadchan maybe. And now you banged yourself onto that karka. But that karka that was there, that's not mine. That was always there. So what did I create when I made the bor? I didn't create the banging of the bor because that floor was already there. What I created was, it's called in the Gemara havlo. When you have a bor, so there's certain fumes and stuff, that I created because before I made this
Why would you
pit
call
over
it
here,
space?
it wasn't there.
Why wouldn't you call it space? Why are you calling it fumes?
How do you get, it's called, we're going to talk about someone being huzak, someone getting damaged. You wouldn't get damage from that space by itself. You're right that what I created was the space, but how would someone get damaged by my space? Just by being in there? So Rav has a way how someone's going to get damaged by the space because the fumes that are there. But I guess you're right. Well, according to Rav, what I created was the space, not the.
When you throw the kli off the roof,
Opened up a
the
cesspool.
ground was there from my inspiration. So why is it chayav?
Get sick from the smell.
No, so you're not high for the floor. You're high for throwing the kli, maybe, no?
You're chayav.
Not sure. According to Rav, if someone walks and a person falls into your bore and he gets hurt from the chavota, what it's called. The bang is called chavota. So then you're not chayav because I didn't create the floor. Right. Okay. Only if he walked and he fell into the bar and somehow he got damaged by being inside that bar.
Not the wall.
That's called havala, which means havla. I think it means the ear or the
Okay.
fumes. Then he's chayav, not the walls. The walls also you didn't create. You created the space. It's a very big chiddush. That's why I'm having a hard time explaining it too. But that's my focus. Yeah, no, there is such a thing. Remember, there is such a thing as going into a bar and and not only the lack of oxygen, but I think also the food. But it's a chiddush to say that when someone falls in and gets banged on the bottom of the bar, to say, "Well, I didn't make it there. It's there from Sheshes from Liberation." That's a little bit of an interesting argument. So now over here, we're going to see in a second. We're talking about Nishbar Kadi B'Shus Rabim, and someone comes and slips in the water. And now what happened? According to Rav, right? What would he have to pay for? If he slipped in the water and banged on the floor, that's not me, City. That's the floor was there. So the Rav's gonna say, you know what happened? He got dirty, he got all for schmutz. There was water, there was wine, for that, that's my bar. That really I did. So that I would have to pay for. But the bang I wouldn't have to pay for. It's a chiddush, but so that's what happens here. Okay. Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Rav. So Rav Yehuda is saying in the name of Rav, and again, Rav is the one who holds that you are not chayev for the chavata. Lo yishanu, when this Mishnah says that you're chayev, elo shetinfu kelav b'mayim. The guy fell, and his stuff became dirty in the waters. Aval hu atzmoi. That's what he's chayev to pay. But hu atzmoi, which means the person himself, if he just got hurt from this, then he's potter. How do you make it? Oh, here it is. If he himself got hurt, then he's potter. Why? Karka oilam hazikosoi. The ground oilam is like, I don't know, of the world, or oilam sometimes means time. I don't know how would you translate karka oilam. I don't know. The earth, which was always there, is what hurt him. There must be a better translation. But anyhow, karka oilam is ikosoi, and I'm not mechuyev for that, for the fact that the person got hurt. I only have to pay if he got damaged, his clothing got wet. Kiyam Risa Kamei Shmuel, Rav Yehuda himself learned by Rav, and he also afterwards learned by Shmuel. So he heard this from Rav, and then he went to Shmuel and said it to Shmuel. And Shmuel, we said, argues, and Shmuel holds that what you usually chayv on bar is for sure what you get hurt. Kiyam Risa Kamei Shmuel Amali Mirdi. Avnoi v'sakino yumasoi. If someone leaves out his stone or his knife or his package out in the Rishus Harabim and someone comes and falls over that, so that's equivalent that we would learn from Bor. Everyone knows that, Bor has certain halachos, what you chayav on and not. It says in the pasuk, if someone makes a Bor, ish Bor, and someone falls there, and then you chayav, this way? Go. Let's go up and find the pasuk in Bor, because we want the drasha of Bor v'loy kelim. Shmois. You know which parak it is? Chaf base.
Which person?
Bor, the pasuk of Bor,
Why had it here?
not much further, so it must be Chav Beis. 1 second.
Chaf Aleph Lamed Gimel.
Okay, so there we go.
Chaf Aleph. Lamed Gimel.
Chav Aleph. Here we go. So Yiftach Ishbar, if someone opens up a pit, Ochi Yichra Ishbar, if he digs the pit, V'lo Yachasenu, and he doesn't cover it, V'nafal Shama, Shor O Chamor. Then it says, Balabor Yishalem, Kesef Yoshiv Leva'alav, Amisi Eloi. So what's the case that the Torah talks about being huzak, getting damaged in the bar? Talks about an animal, Shor O Chamor. And the Gemara is going to darshan 2 drashos. That sure, you see, only an animal that falls into the bar, that's when I'm mechuyev to pay. But if let's say a person would fall into the pit, then I'm not mechuyev to pay. I could tell the person, why didn't you watch where you were going? I opened the pit, okay, but people walk in the street. I don't have to take into consideration that maybe a person's going to fall in. That's called shor v'loy adam. You're not mechuyev to pay if a person gets killed in the bar. Another drasha we darshan is chamor. It says chamor v'loy kelim. Only an animal that falls in, that's what you have to pay for. But the clothing which is on the animal, or the yoke that's on the shore, or the chamor has a saddle, or whatever it is, for that you don't have to pay. You only have to pay for the chamor itself. So that's called boris potter on killing of a person and on kalim. Those are 2 big heterim, kulas, which a bor will have. So now let's go back to the Gemara. I don't know what happened to it. So share and start the share again. No. Not me. So how do you get to that? Share. Okay. Now, so he says like this again. All these things, right, like we spoke about in the Mishnah, that his barrel is in the Rishus HaRabim. Avnei v'sakinu masoy is all from Bor. So all these things we should have the kulas of Bor. What did Rav say? What's he chayav for? He's chayav that the guy's clothing got wet, not for the etam fall, because the fall is karka olam, the clothing. So Shmuel says, what? The clothing? Clothing, a bird potter. A bird potter on clothing, because that's kalim. So it can't be that that's what the Mishnah is referring to, that you should be chayav. Shmuel really means to say, of course he's chayav for the person getting hurt, not for the kalim. The kularani koirabehem, all these things I would use the pasuk of shor v'loy adam, that adam is potter, and the main point over here is chamor v'loy kalim, and then the Gemara already finishes. But v'hani milin yin ketola, if a person gets killed, avlin yin nizakin, adam chayev v'kalim pturin. Kalim is always potter. If a person who gets killed, that's when the bar is potter. But if a person gets hurt, so then he's chayev. And Memela, what Shmuel really means to say is that, of course, you're not chayav to pay for the kalim, for the clothing that got wet. And our mission that says the mechuyev to pay means for a person who got hurt. So he's learning the Mishnah sort of like Mukapshutai, that it's talking that a person got hurt in the floor, and you have to pay that. The Rav, how does Rav do that? Hani Mili, over here he does have to pay for the person's clothing that got wet. When does Bar not have to pay for clothing? Hani Mili Hechid Afkerinu. A Bar which is Hefker, or he was Mafker, his Avlin Sakoy Masif, Sakinoy Masoy. But Heicha de Loy Afkerinu, like in our case, that he still wants to collect the wood and collect that, so then Mimoinoihu, and that's going to be more Chomer. And then he's not going to have to, he's going to be responsible for the damages which happened to Kalim from this kad, which the shards are in the Rishos HaRabim, even though usually the bor is potter on Kalim, but over here it's talking that he still wants it. And over here, he's going to have to pay. Why? Because a regular bar is talking that it's hefker. Whereas over here, it's talking that it's still his. And then it's sort of memoinoi hamazik, which is interesting because usually we have memoinoi hamazik, right? So you have a shor, you have this. Over here, it's some kind of, not a trap, how do you call it? Takola, and there's a rabbin, like a bar. It just belongs to him and it's not hefker. And Rav says this will have a chumrah more than bar, that it will be mechuyev on kalim. And that's what the Mishnah is talking about. So if we go back to the Mishnah, and the Mishnah says that his kad fell off of the thing and was mazik someone. Why is he mechuyev? So it's not really bur according to Rav. It's sort of bur, but it's a kind of bur that belongs to him, and that's called mevonei hamazik. Very interesting. Now, Mosef Rav Yishaya. Wait, no, offense. Mosef Rav Yishaya. The pasuk says v'nofal. This is what we just saw. V'nofal shama shor chamor. Right? That's what the case when it spoke about. This is the pasuk. V'nofal shama shor. Anyway, you get the idea. V'nofal shama shor or chamor. That's the pasuk, and the drash will be shor v'lo adam. That if a person falls into the thing, he's potter, and chamor v'lo kelel. Mikan Omru, Nofal Techoy Shor Vekelav, the Shor Shalim with his Kalim, with his oil on it, Vinish Tabru, and the Kalim also broke. Or Chamor Vekelav Vinis Karu, and it ripped. So Chayav ala Behema, so he has to pay, he says, for the Behema itself, but Opotter ala Kalim. And the Brisa continues saying, Halamaze Doime, what's this Dome to? This is equivalent to Avnoi v'Sakino Yumasoi, his package or his stone that he she'nicham b'rshus harabim v'heziku, that they're also going to be potter for Kalim. This is going to be the kasha. But the Gemara just doesn't even finish saying the brisa, and the Gemara says, what? It says in the pasuk shur, and we dash shur v'lo Kalim, chamor v'lo Kalim, and then shur v'lo adam, chamor v'lo Kalim. You say this is equivalent to Avnoi v'Sakino. Where does it say Avnoi v'Sakino? That's not a pasuk. If anyway, things say the other. Adrabah. Ma doime lezeh mi boyale. Right? We're going to compare Avnei Sakinu Masoi to what it says in the pasuk. Elo my doime lezeh Avnei Sakinu Masoi. Okay, shenicham b'shos haram veziku. That they're going to the Avnei Sakinu Masoi that in the Rishos Haram and Eziku is doime to bor. That what? That it's going to be pot of a kalim. And like the Mishnah continues, lefichach imetiach tzlechisei be'even. He was walking with his thing of water and it bang in someone else's Evan. Reuven puts the Evan down in the Shusar. Hamshim is going by with his tzlichas and it bangs in the Evan. Chayav. He is chayav to pay. So what just happened? We just said that bar is potter. So the Gemara says Reisha Kashil Rav. The Reisha starts off that Avnei Sakina Yumasoy is Dom Metu bar. That it's also going to have the Ptur on Kalim. Rav just told us that since Avnei Sakina Yumasoy is more chomer because he wasn't mafkir. And then the Sefer, which says it's Tiach be'even here, is Chayav. That's not. That's Shlomo Shmuel. Reisha Kasha l'Rav, the Sefer Kasha l'Shmuel. One says, yeah, but the Brisa itself is not readable. Well, Tamech Tikshilach Higufa, the Brisa itself is not readable. Reisha Potter, the Reisha it says that Avnei Sakina Masoy is Potter on Caleb. The Sefer Chayav. Ella, this Brisa seems that you have to fix it a little bit. Rav Metaratz L'Tashmei. Ushmuel metaretz etamei. Rav metaretz etamei. Rav's going to explain the brayso, but med devorim amurim. You have to push in that we said that Bor is potter on kalim. But med devorim amurim kishehifkiron that he was mafkir. Avaloy hifkiron chayev, and that's going to be amnei sakinu masoy is like a bor that he was not mafkir, and that is going to be chayev on kalim. Lefichach etiach tzrichise be'even chayev. Shmuel is going to answer the other way. Hash the diamris avne v'sakino umasoy is like boirei dami. So now Shmuel himself holds that it's bur, and Shmuel holds that even a bur is potter on kalim. But Rabbi Yehuda the Machayva miske kalim a bur, he's going to hold the fichach etiach tzleichisa be'even chayav. In other words, Shmuel holds that every avne v'sakino umasoy is take is yes bur. And when the Brisa says in the end that you chayav on kelim, it's only going to Rabbi Yehuda, which holds that you chayav on kelim. Okay, now let's do one more thing over here. Omar Rabbi Lazar. Okay, now we have like this. Avnei Sakinu Masoy and Rishos Harabim is going to be chayav on kelim. According to Shmuel, it's going to be. I'm sorry. According to Shmuel, it's potter on kelim, and only according to the Mandama that Bor is chayav on Kalim, it's Bor. So according to the Mandama that Bor is chayav on Kalim, it's going to be chayav. According to Rav, it's always going to be chayav on Kalim because it's Memoni Amazik and he wasn't mafkir. Now the Gemara comes up with a new issue. Gemara says, what happens? He's walking with his tzleichas. So if you just bang straight into the Evan that you left in the Rishos Harabim, so for sure you're mechuyev because your Evan is what broke the thing. But let's say he slips on the earth before, and then he falls into the Evan. So in this kind of case, there's sort of two components of the hezek. The first one is the slipping, that wasn't straight, and the second one is the Evan. So what happens every time when you have someone who was huzak in the bar, but it's not just that he walked and fell into the bar. Let's say the animal's walking and someone else pushes him into the bar. So in the end, he ended up getting huzak, from the bar. But it wasn't just the bar that was mazik him. It's only the tzir of the guy who pushed, or a different shore. It's talking about not a person, another mamazik, another shore pushed him in. So we mentioned this a long time ago in Daf Yud Gimel, and it was a machlokas of Nosam and the Chachamim. And the machlokas went that Reb Nosson says, 1 minute. Nosson says that be'etem both are mechuyev. Both are mechuyev, or the other way around. No, that's the Chachamim. So one, no, Nosson, the Chachamim. One side is that both are mechuyev. So be'etem the shor should be mechuyev because he pushed the other one in, and the bur is mechuyev. So if the shor is, let's say, a shor more that it has to pay, and the bur also has to pay, so you have two which be karon would be mechuyev to pay 100%. So they split it. Each one pays 50. If it's a short tam that only has to pay half the nezek, so again we split it, and the balabar pays 3/4, and the short tam pays a quarter. That's one side. And the chachamim say no, only the bar is mechuyev. I think that's the way it goes. And the one who
The
pushes,
Balabar pays a quarter way.
because on the shore only has to pay chatzi nezek if it's a short tam.
Yeah.
So
I just
the
think
other
we-
chatzi, for sure, the bar pays because there's no one else to pay. In other words, be'etzem the bar has to pay unless he can find someone else
I think
to
the bottle short pays
to
a
put it on.
quarter.
So, لما كمان بالشورش ضغط كبير البار كل قد كل شنو من هاي. Right, so that's a nosen. The nosen says that be'etzem they both have to pay, and the chachamim argues. So how is this going to come into us over here? Over here we said that he got banged into the Evan. So if he slipped before and then banged in the Evan. So if you go like Reb Nosson, that says that what? That both have to pay. So over here, who has to pay with him? The first this. Let's see. Amar Abla Zalishon Nitkal be'even. He fell in the Evan, Venishov be'even. And it also broke. So that's for sure. That's simple because then everything happened with the Evan. But if it was Nitkal Bakarka, he slipped in the Karka before the Evan. Venishov be'even, he's Potor. The Evan is Potor. So that's the Loiker of Nasan, because according to Rav Nasan, the Bala Bor should also, both of them have a full chiyuv. So since over here you can't get anything from the Bala Karka because that's just the Rishos Rabim, so the Bala Evan, who's now the Bor, should have to pay the whole thing. And if it says over here that he's Potor, so that's not like Rav Nasan, because Rav Nasan would hold that he would have to pay. Command the Loiker of Nasan. He said the other way around. Don't say only benitkal ve'even ve'nishov ve'even hu machayev. That only if he slips and brings himself into the Evan, that's when the Evan man has to pay. Avol nitkal b'karka ve'nishov ba'even potor. Do not say that way. Ela afilu nitkal b'karka. Even if he slips on the ground and then he bangs into the Evan, he's also chayev. And then that's going to be like Reb Nosson. Reb Nosson says that even though you slipped before, since when he got banged, he banged into the Evan, the Bala Evan is going to have to pay, meaning the Bala Bor will have to pay. And then it will be like Reb Nosson. So this is just a Agadiga thing, which came in once we already spoke about Amni Sakinu Masoi. Is it what happens if he slips before and then bangs into the Bor? It's sort of like a two-phased Bor. But I would want to just go back to the Mishnah. When we spoke about the Mishnah, someone's walking with his card and it breaks. Someone else comes and slips on it. So according to Shmuel, it's very simple. It's he slipped and he banged himself into the floor, so you have to pay. According to Rav, he would not have to pay. So because he got banged in the floor. So what do you have to pay? He has to pay for his clothing that got dirty. But there's a problem here that Bor is potter on Kalim, and Rav's gonna say it's Chiddush that when is Bor potter on Kalim only if it's Hefker. But if the Bor sort of belongs to me, right? Like in other words, let's say it's his card, exactly his shards that he still wants to collect. Then it's going to be chayav on kelim also. Shmuel won't hold like this chiddush, and he doesn't need it. So back to the Mishnah, those are still two pshatim, where according to Shmuel he's chayav for the banging, and according to Rav he's chayav for the clothing, and only in this case are you chayav also for clothing because he wasn't mafkir. That's really what happened. Now it's interesting because you read the Mishnah, it will be very simple. It's only because there's another machlokas Rav and Shmuel that Rav holds that every bor is not chayiv for the chavota, that you have to have a whole problem in this Mishnah and say that he's going to be mechuyev to pay for the clothing, and then there's going to be a problem. But with potter on kalim, so we're going to make that he owns it. So it sort of comes out of this Mishnah. That's the Gemara here. And now the Gemara is going to go in Rav Yehuda. When it says miskavin chayav, ain't miskavin potter, they said it means either maybe miskavin to break it, or maybe miskavin to pick it up. So that's already going to be, we'll keep that for tomorrow. But that's already in Rav Yehuda. That's tomorrow. So good. That's okay. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, everyone. If anyone
Thank
can
you.
let us know on the WhatsApp if there's Derech Hashem tonight.
Yeah, Rabbi Vrom's here. Rabbi Vrom came
Oh.
back. So hold on just 1 second. No. How do I just stop this? Stop the recording. I just did it. Oh, here, stop it. Okay.